Hola, bona nit a tothom. Good night, everyone. Good evening. What a joy to be here, surrounded by friends, thinkers, design critics, and fellow troublemakers. I'm Pau Aleikum. I'm professor at the School of Design and Engineering, Elisava. I'm also part of the studio Domestic Data Streamers. And today I have the honor to introduce a very special guest. A guest that we have been sharing kind of a path for the last decade, as you will see in part of the work, both with the university and the work that we have done in the studio. And this work is trying to answer the question, what is political, sometimes private, sometimes corporate. And these interests are often hidden by a bunch of people that are working very hard to obscure all the things, to make this technology feel like if it was kind of magic, like if it's something in the cloud that is totally disconnected from Earth, from society, right? This is generally problematic because, of course, we have to figure out ways to understand the technology that we use. And if there is someone trying to deceive us, well, this makes the thing a bit more complex because this is the great lie. Technology is often sold to us as a fight for progress, for a better future, right? But the truth is that technology is often really a fight for power, right? And this power right now, today, is uneven between those who create technology and those who use it, and those who are used by the technology by the means of labor, exploitation, surveillance, and politics. And this is part of the complex world in which we live in. It's complex by itself, right? It brings us into uncomfortable positions all the time, and we have to spend a bit of time thinking about this. Of course, as you know, like this world is getting darker sometimes, and some of you have experienced yourself. And technology, we are seeing more and more how it is participating of this darkness. We have seen it in the genocide in Palestine. We have seen it in Yemen and Sudan, how these algorithms, these surveillance systems are being used against civil society. And not only to target, not only to point a finger, but sometimes to kill. Right? And this is probably the most depressing way I could start and introduce a conversation, and I'm so sorry, Dries, but bear with me, it will get better at some point. I think saying that the world is broken is not a radical thing. We see it every day, and we see it in the news, and we see it every time we open like our TikTok and Instagrams and things that we have in our phones. What is truly radical is to find ways to repair it, to find ways to fix it, to find ways to place a mirror in front of us, in front of the wall, and say, hey, there are things that should be changed. And there are people from time to time that appear and have the clarity, have the perception to not only talk about these contradictions and these problems, but to also play with them, to actually be able to make them simpler in a way that we can see ourselves in the map. Today, I have like the big honor, and I'm very excited because I have been waiting for a very long time to invite this person and this amazing artist here, to invite a person that has been an inspiration for many of you and reminds us every day that design and technology is not just neutral. It's never neutral, in fact. That data is never just data, and that somehow, whenever we use technology, this technology may be using us at all. So please give a warm welcome to the one and only Dries Depoorter.
Thank you. Electronics. I went to an art school. I studied media arts, and then I worked 2 years in advertising as a concept provider. Now I have 8 years my own company, basically making art, and I will talk about this today. So I will talk about my work, and at the end, in the middle, there's like a little experiment don't worry. And then in the end, I will talk about what I'm currently working on, wave.com. And it's a website where you can listen to an audio file of 24 hours. I recorded this audio with a professional sound recorder, and I was wearing this professional sound recorder around my belt. And it recorded my whole day as a student. So conversations with my parents, it also recorded some lessons, conversations with friends, and I published this online. So people were able to listen back 24 hours. But some parts that are private for me, like that private conversation with my friends, you're not able to listen back to it, but you are able to buy it for a certain price. So, and the price tag is based on not on the length, but on the value I give it to. So I really had to think like, okay, this is an audio file. This is really private. I don't want to have this online. So this is 500 €. And then you had like another file. Okay, I don't want to have this online, but okay, this is 8 €. And at the time, I was doing a lot of projects around myself, giving away private information. Like this was called a Screenshot a Day. It was software I developed, and it was running on the background of my computer for a whole month. And every day at a random moment, it took a screenshot, and then it was uploaded. It automatically uploads it to my Twitter account. And I didn't have access to my Twitter account at the time because a friend of mine changed the password. So this is like Screenshot a Day. So every day at a random moment, it was getting uploaded to my Twitter. And I had like a feeling like the whole internet is watching me behind my back. So I had to change my computer behavior a little bit. I didn't visit certain websites anymore, like private emails. I had to answer them quickly. This is another project around myself, around this private information. This is a project called Here, and it always showed Google Street View, full screen, on the location where I was. So it worked with my iPhone, constantly sending out my location, so everyone was able to see where I was real time. After those projects, I was a bit bored about that, and I started doing more work about social media. So this is the first one around social media. It's called Tinderin, and it existed out of 10 photo frames, and each photo frame existed out of 2 profile pictures of the same person. So one is from Tinder, and the other one is from LinkedIn. And I published this on my social media, and the project went viral. It was on the Washington Post, Vice, Wired, Dazed and Confused. A lot of blogs did an article about this. But it also ended up at blogs of lawyers, because I didn't ask for permission to those people. So in the press, there was like a lot of discussion, like, is this a legal project or a legal project? And yeah, so this is a Dutch article on someone's, this is a lawyer's blog. This is my favorite article about the project. They talk really bad about what I've done, and then it's a Belgian newspaper, and then at the bottom they used a profile picture without asking permission. So I was like, okay, this tells a lot about what I've done. Then a year later, LG published this print campaign. Like, it's a copy. You can see the white borders. It's exactly the same. I used different photos, but for me, it was clearly a copy. And they won 2 advertising awards with that, and I was not really happy about that. So this is the credit list. So you can see a lot of people worked on this project. Even like the print producer is on the credit list, but my name is not on the list. And I was a bit pissed, and I thought, like, I need to do something. So I sent the agency an invoice of €10,000 to use my ID. They never paid the invoice. I was not expecting and that they will pay the invoice. But the two creative directors blocked me on social media. I never tagged them, or like they were just blocked before I even can search them up. Also, this screenshot of me sending this invoice, I published this on my social media, and then you had like a lot of reaction of like, hey, this is my work got also copied. So, yeah. Then a lot of my work is about, I call them unprotected surveillance cameras. It's cameras that you can find that are connected to the internet. That looks like this. It's not a camera in your computer. It's not your doorbell. But sometimes cameras that are connected to the internet don't have a good password or a standard password. So if you try this, admin, or 1234, sometimes you can use them. And I use them in many of my projects. This was an article from a few days ago. I thought it was funny. But I use them in many of my projects, those cameras. And the very first one was called, project was called Jaywalking. It's an interactive installation with 3 emergency buttons and 3 screens. And on the screens you see a live unprotected camera that is pointed to crossroads. And it's 3 different cameras that are pointed to crossroads. And I made software to detect if people are jaywalking, if they cross the road when it's red. If the computer finds a jaywalker, the visitor of the artwork gets this question: would you like to report the jaywalker? And then the person can press the emergency button. If they press the emergency button, it will send an email to the closest police station with a screenshot of the jaywalker. An email looks like this: hi, somebody just jaywalked at, and then you have the address of the camera, bye. And it's an email address that only exists for 10 minutes. This is a bit how the software works. So it uses the computer vision. I use a lot the language Python. So it checks the main color of the traffic light. If that's red, it will check if someone is crossing the road. Sometimes I make follow-up projects. This is called jaywalking frames. So this is a wall of 22 meters with more than 1,000 photo frames of people that are jaywalking from all over the world. So I was using my software and all those unprotected surveillance cameras. People can watch all the jaywalkers. They're all unique. Sometimes they're from the same crossroads. But people can watch it, but they can also buy it for a certain price. And the price you pay is the same as the fine for jaywalking in that country. So the price really depends on the law in that country. And well, I think what I like is this time the money doesn't go to the police, it goes to me as an artist. So this is a really cheap one. So I sell them in galleries and exhibitions, but sometimes they also ending up at my web shop. In the past, I did a lot of internet projects, project that started online. And this is the very first one. It was a browser game that I made together with a friend. And I made a little video about this.
In 2012, Andrew Shannon seriously damaged a Claude Monet masterpiece hanging in the National Gallery of Ireland by punching it in front of stunned art lovers. In December 2014, the story made international headlines again as he was sentenced to 5 years in prison for his actions. This shocking act of violence drew mixed reactions on the internet. While most agreed that attacks on artwork were terrible, some felt strangely attracted to this surprising and unusual incident. We have to admit, we shared this fascination. Introducing punchamonet.gallery, a browser-based 3D game where you can virtually punch a Monet painting. Visitors find themselves in a gallery space similar to the National Gallery of Ireland. Players are given 2 controls, moving and punching, so they can walk up to the virtual Monet and punch it until it's completely destroyed. As the painting is repeatedly punched, a running tally adds up the dollar value of the damage being done. The simulation clearly struck a nerve on the internet. Tens of thousands of people chose to experiment with violence against art, resulting in a total of 200,000 players after the first week. More than 50,000 people shared the project on social media. For some, virtually punching a priceless artwork was cathartic, a chance to explore a taboo behavior without doing any real damage. The project was featured on a number of important creative and art outlets, and by prominent gaming websites such as Kotaku, Killscreen, and Game Trailers. Try it now at punchamonet.gallery.
And for me, this was really like a starting point to make more online projects. Like this is non-views. So on Punch Monet, I spent 5 days on it to develop. And then on non-views, I spent half an hour on it. And it's basically in a browser extension that changes the amount of YouTube views and the amount of views, the number of people that didn't watch the YouTube video in the world. So it's the amount of people in the world minus the amount of people that watched the YouTube video. This is Airbnb hosted online. It's again a browser game. It's not a collaboration between Airbnb and me, but it uses data of Airbnb. So you see one room of an Airbnb, an image of an Airbnb space, and then you needed to guess the host of the room. And you are able to play all where Airbnb is active, so you can select your own city. Then a few days later, after I launched this, Airbnb was not really happy about this. You don't need to read this, but they said like, hey, we don't like this project. And I was thinking, okay, they really want to have this project offline, but I thought like, let me try one more thing. And I did. I added a little button, book this room, so there's some traffic going back to Airbnb, but the lawyers and sent a lot of angry emails, so now the browser game is offline. This is a project together with a friend of mine, David Subrenon. Then I have scratch tickets. I will give away later in the presentation, I will give them away. But this is a physical scratch ticket where you can win up to 25,000 fake followers for your Instagram and Twitter accounts. And you can really win them. It really works. So I will explain how that works later. But if you have a winning ticket, you see the amount you win, you see a website with a unique code, and then you type in the username, and then you will have the 25,000 fake followers. So it started online, and then exhibitions and festivals asked me to exhibit this. So I built this. It's like a big vending machine where you can buy them for €1. And this was the place where I exhibited the artwork for the first time. It also now ends up at Instagram museums. Those are the places where you have nice backgrounds. So they sometimes end up there. This is a follow-up project, and I have a little video about this. Quick Fix.
Quick Fix is an art installation that makes it possible to buy likes or followers in just a few seconds. This is how it works. Choose your product, pay the cost, enter your Instagram username, and you're done. You will have the likes or followers delivered in just a few seconds. Check your phone and start celebrating success. Quick Fix. Influencers love it.
Yeah. So this is a machine where you were able to buy the likes and followers instantly. So you just throw in a coin, you select your what you want, and then you will get the fake followers and fake likes. This is a bit inside. This is how I ship it to the exhibitions. Before I never made any cases. But now I learned that to make the case, because a lot of my work was getting destroyed along the way. This is inside. This is also a bit of bad cable management. And then I use a lot Raspberry Pi and Arduino in my projects. It's really one of my two tools that I use in my artwork. So this is the latest Quick Fix. It does exactly the same, but now it looks a bit different. It has a touch screen. It's part of the Glassroom, an organization by Firefox. It travels the world, and it's about privacy, and Quick Fix is part of that. Okay, a totally different project. This is surveillance paparazzi. Microsoft, the inspiration is Microsoft. Microsoft launched a service where you can detect celebrities in images. And I thought this was really interesting. So this is a box full of Raspberry Pis that is constantly checking unprotected surveillance cameras in Hollywood in order to find a celebrity. So first it tries to find a face. If it finds a face, it will use the service of Microsoft. You have one screen showing the process, and you have one screen showing the results. So this is the results screen. You see the confidence level, you see the name, and then the first line of the Wikipedia page. To be honest, it never found a real celebrity. They are all lookalikes. They are all people that looks very similar as that person. So the image in the corner, the small, is also the Wikipedia page, the Wikipedia photo of that person. So yeah. Then we have a surveillance speaker. This is pretty old work. It's a speaker, a camera, and a motor attached to each other, and it will check the space. Most of the time it's in like an exhibition or a public space, part of a festival, so it checks the space, and out of the speaker you will hear what the camera is seeing. I think this project is about AI. It uses a lot of new technologies, and I'll always update this work. So in the beginning, in 2018, it was really having this computer voice. Like, for example, if it was Siri, it will say something like, "I see a dark room full of people." But now the voice is really natural. It can describe people more in detail. So every time if it's in an exhibition, I update this. And it randomly moves. So people play around with this. In 2018, I had like a moment where there was a twin walking around the artwork, and then it was saying, "I see a girl taking a selfie in the mirror." So sometimes it make poetic mistakes, but to be honest now, it's creepy accurate. Then I have a trophy camera. This is a photo camera. It's a work about AI, and it's a camera that can only make award-winning photos. So it's trained on the World Press photo. If you hear like photo of the year, most of the time they're talking about the World Press photo. So how does the camera work? So you take a photo, and then it will process the photo, and it will say like, okay, this looks 90% as a World Press photo. If it looks more than 90% as a World Press photo, it will save it, and it will also get uploaded to a website. So people in the exhibition can just play around with the camera. Now you can also select different photo awards. And this is a bit how the camera looks like now. Now this is an award-winning photo that the camera took. So a lot of the World Press photos, they are war photos. So if you act like you have a weapon, or you act like you're dead on the ground, you have a higher chance to get selected. So it's really nice to see people playing around with trophy camera. This is my first app. It's called Die With Me. It's an app which you can only use when you have less than 5% battery in your phone. If you have less than 5% battery in your phone, you can use the app, and then you end up in a chat room with other people having less than 5% battery in the phone. So people are chatting really fast in the chat room. You can see each other's battery status. There's a lot of spelling mistakes. And I also made a little video about this.
Everyone knows the struggle of a dying phone. Die With Me is an app you can only use when you have less than 5% battery. Die together in a chat room on your way to offline peace.
Yeah. So, Die With Me was pretty easy to develop, but Apple, they really didn't want to have it in their Apple App Store. So if you want to have your app in the Apple App Store, Apple checks everything. They check your concept, they check your text, your codes, everything. And this was their feedback always, like this is a platform where you upload everything, and then this was the feedback, like we don't like it. So I was developing different types of apps, like with a little radio in it, but then for months I applied different versions, and then on my birthday they approved one version, and I launched everything, like the video and the website that I made, and on my birthday the project went viral.
Low battery, no problem. You can still chat it up. I've got just the app for you in tonightsdaily.com.
So a lot of people starting to share the project, also big blogs and YouTubers. I was really happy with this, that people shared it. Also on the Wall Street Journal, and then it was the #1 in the Apple App Store. And the category paid for more than 2 weeks in the US. So I was really happy about this, but then after a few days, people starting to copy my app. So this is the first copy. It's called Die With Me in the Google Play Store. I had also a version in the Google Play Store, but this has exactly the same name, but you can see it's free. At the time, I had like a paid app, but this copy is a free copy. It's a free app, and they had advertising. So they were also making money with having advertising in their chat room. So again, like I felt like I need to do something. So I sent like a pretty angry email, like, hey, please remove it in 24 hours. They didn't remove it in 24 hours, but they changed the name from Die With Me to Live With Me. And then there was another copy, Die With Me, less than 15%. It has exactly the same design. The only difference here is that you can use it with less than 15%. Last date, Die Together dating. It's like a mix between Tinder and Die With Me. And those are all copies and that I discovered. Also, Alive With Me, that's a chat app that you can only use when you have more than 95% battery. So yeah, that was quite fun to see. I mean, and then in exhibitions, I don't like to show apps. I think that's a bit sometimes weird to show an app in an exhibition. So I always try to come up with something that to represent it. So then I made a neon lamp, Die With Me, and next to it you can always see the chat room. Sometimes I update the app, so now you can be verified. You don't need to pay anything for it, but you can be verified. There is also like a 5% update. Now you can pay €5 in the app, and then you can start using it from 10% battery instead of 5% battery. And on Black Friday, I doubled the prices. So you pay twice the amount of money to download Die With Me. So yeah, and that's most of the time my best selling day. Okay, time for a little surprise or a giveaway. I give away a few scratch tickets to the person with the lowest battery in the room. So it's already pretty late, so who's below 10%? I don't see a lot. Okay, how much do you have? 15. Who's below 1%? Okay, I think then you're the winner. Congrats with the... Okay, he dies. Okay, perfect. You can pick them up here after the presentation, but okay. Okay, 1%, okay. I never had this before. Congrats. Okay. Another project. This is 24-hour sunrise, sunset. I made it during Corona, and it's again about unprotected surveillance cameras. At the time, I already showed what can go wrong with those cameras, but sometimes I discovered beautiful things in those cameras. Sometimes they show a nice sunset, or they are at a beautiful location. So this artwork it looks like this. It's sort of a console with 2 HDMI ports, and it will always show a sunrise and a sunset somewhere happening in the world. And actually, you can always see, I mean, it doesn't use any computer vision software, it's just based on time. And it always shows a sunrise and a sunset. So this is the device. I also made it like more at the time, during Corona, I made it like more plug and play, so I just can ship it to the exhibition. I don't need to travel anymore. At the time, I had more and more time, so I started developing my own PCBs, my own electronics, in combination with Arduino and Raspberry Pi. So the blue thing is an Arduino and the microcontroller. And then this is the PCBs. And I really start enjoying making those PCBs. And then I made Short Life. This is also a product. And it's a really personal product. The subtitle is A Clock to Remind You That Life is Short. And it's a product that you can buy, and it shows how much % of your life is already completed based on your life expectancy in your country. So it uses data from the WHO, from the World Health Organization. They have numbers of average ages in different countries. So if you order it, you just give up your birthday and the country where you've been born, and then it will show a percentage. I write down your name on the back, an edition number. It's an edition of 1 million, so I will only make 1 million of Short Life. And I make also different versions. So this is the latest versions with like more displays now. This was me. And yeah, this is the information you need to fill in. Last year I received this of a person, and the person tattooed their percentage on the arm. It was a special moment in her life, and she sent me this. I thought that was really cool. Some people make it for their dog also. I thought that was really funny. And this was me, and I think at the beginning of the year. So I'm at 42%. A few weeks ago, I was wondering, okay, who is buying actually those clocks? So I made like a visualization of, and it's most of the time around 40 that people buy the clock. And I was wondering, okay, when is a midlife crisis? And then, okay, but there's no exact numbers of that, but it's a bit like this. But people use it. During the years that I'm selling those clocks, I'm starting to talk to the people that buys it. And I was always like, where do they place it? Because I place it next to my bed. I see it every morning. And most of the people are placing it in their workspace. And I was like, wow, this is really interesting. So yeah, most of the time they place it at their workspace. Yeah. Then I have the lookout. I will be really short about this. This is again about unprotected surveillance cameras, but I also discovered that sometimes you can move them physically. Sometimes they have a motor. And this is me controlling with the PlayStation controller physically in a camera in France. Comes always with a bit of delay, but this physically moves the camera. So I made this, it's called the Lookout. It's an installation where people can play around with cameras, and there's some gamification in the cameras. So they can select their camera, and then they can move it, and people most of the time move it like this, like, so the owners see like, oh, what's happening with my camera? What's happening here? At the time, again, I started developing my own PCBs, I start really enjoying doing that. So this is the lookout. And then I have the Flemish scrollers, and I also made a little video about this.
The Flemish Scrollers is an art installation tagging Belgian politicians when they use their phone on the daily live streams. This is how it works. Every meeting of the Flemish government in Belgium is live streamed on a YouTube channel. When a live stream starts, the software is searching for phones and tries to identify a distracted politician. When a politician is too long on the phone, a video of the person is then posted to a Twitter and Instagram account with the politician tagged. This is all done with the help of artificial intelligence and face recognition. The Flemish Scrollers was featured in important news outlets. A few Belgian politicians reacted in the media. The art installation was premiered on April 1st, 2022 in Lausanne, Switzerland. Please stay focused.
So yeah, first I developed the software, and then later I was asked to show it in an exhibition, and then I made this. It's a big 19-inch server rack, and I customized it so people can see the process, the results, and I also wanted to show the hardware behind AI. So it uses a lot of power. The server makes a lot of noise. People can walk around. I make the computers, the servers, transparent, it shows how the software works. I thought that was really important. This is the image that a lot of people shared, and this is how it tweets. They're distracted, and that it uses face recognition. Please stay focused. A lot of people shared it, and then the day after I launched this, the camera was offline the day after for just 3 hours. I don't know if I have something to do with that, but it was just offline. And then they changed how they filmed the meeting. So before you had this overview shot, and then after I launched this project, they now only film the person that is talking. So I thought that was really interesting. Then this is border birds. I found cameras that are unprotected and that are protecting borders. So this is a project called Border Birds, and it's actually pictures of birds that are crossing two countries that are in conflict with each other. So first I found the cameras, then I used software that are detecting birds. If they cross the border, it will take a picture. And then I made this together with my sister, Bieke. She's a photographer. And then we had like 3,000 photos in 2 or 3 weeks. And then we made a selection out of all the birds. This is, we print them out, and half of the profit goes to the Red Cross. This is my favorite border birds. Like, the bird is really big, and then you can see the, how do you call it, barber wire on the bottom. So we sell them, and then you have some information on the bottom. This is the follower. This is a small video. I mean, it was a small video of 8 minutes. It's again about open cameras and social media. And on one side, you see an Instagram photo, and on the other side, you see how that Instagram photo is taken. It's not that I can do this with every Instagram photos. There needs to be a lot of parameters right. So first, I found cameras that are where a lot of people are taking photos, and then I scraped Instagram on that location. So I had all the photos of that location, and then basically I use face recognition to find when that person appears in the video. Of course, when I show this video, it looks like it works out of the box, but I mean, the software is not perfect. I found some influencers, and I just launched the video on my social media and on YouTube on my website. And then I got contacted by Meta and had like a lot of trouble with it. And then the New York Times went to my studio. They did a lot of checks. They went to the location of the cameras. They went to my studio in Ghent. And that was pretty, they photographed themselves in the cameras that I used. It was pretty interesting. This was also like, was a TikTok. I think it has now more than 5 million views, but it's a person explaining my project, but the person explains it wrong. It was like explaining like, hey, this is a tool that is developed, and you can just give it a photo, and it will always find a video of how your photo is taken. That's not the case. There's no tool. And then I got like a lot of emails like, hey, my ex-boyfriend went out yesterday. And then I also received emails of people where their son was murdered in front of a security camera. Of course, then I explain how that I don't have access to all the cameras in the world. And but that was pretty crazy. Then there was a copyright claim, and then this summer I was at the location of one of the cameras. This is in Dublin, and I was just tweeting, remember my project, the follower, so weird to be here. I was just like, hey, I'm just here for the first time, zooming in the camera. And then a few hours later, someone tweeted, hey, I see you, you're there. And I thought I was like, wow, what's happening? And every year I try to launch a product. A few years ago or 2 years ago, it was called Shirt, and it's a t-shirt. It's a t-shirt that you can buy, and the first one was €1. And every time if someone buys the shirt, it's get €1 more expensive. So this shirt is €4, I just launched it, and people starting to buy my shirts. And then around 60, I had like a lot of visitors, more and more. But I saw like it slowed down at 60. Like I was like, okay, now it goes really slow, but I have more and more visitors. I was like, what's happening? And then suddenly, shirt 69 was sold. And then it went really fast again. Like everyone was waiting after this shirt for some reason. Then just before 100, it was slowing down again. And then after 100, it was going fast. But now we're at this number, and it's for months at this number. So I hope during the holidays someone will buy it. But for months, it's this number. And this is one of my latest projects. It's called ReCharge, extra large. So it's a big installation where 40 people can chill and relax and lay down, and every person can charge their phone. But you can only charge your phone if your eyes are closed. If your eyes are closed, your phone is charging. If your eyes are open, your phone is not charging anymore. And I think there's something really poetic about that. Like you charge yourself by closing your eyes. So this is a ReCharge. In the middle, you have cameras that are constantly checking the eyes of the people. It was a lot of work, and I was playing around with, I think in most of my work I used open source projects. So if I use face recognition or face landmarks, so this is the technology I'm using here, it's not that I build them from scratch. It's always like an open source project, and then I build further on it. Or it really sometimes inspires me. So now this is me playing around with a lot of cameras, different computers, building my own software in Python. So this is me playing around with different models that are running on a really expensive computer. So I can also see how much your eyes are closed. And we also built like a big tent for it, so it can be outside. This is my latest project. It's called browser.dating. and it's a dating website. It's a dating website where you don't need to fill in a lot of information. You just upload your full browser history, and it will find a match. If you have a match, you don't see each other's browser history, but you see what you have in common. Like, hey, you were also late at night searching for flights, and then you can chat to each other. So this is how the interface looks like. You can use it for free. You can also pay for it. If you use it for free, you see advertising. And it's Dries Depoorter ads, so it's only advertising of my own products. So a lot of people talked about this, and this is the end of my presentation. I want to just explain one project I'm currently working on, and it's a flag. It's actually an idea of 10 years ago, but I started working again on it. So it's 9 flags outside, and 1 flag is going against the wind. So it's quite challenging to make. It's the first time that I need to play around with motors and physically material. So like I'm hiding the motor, so it needs to look really natural. Also, I don't want to have noise or anything. And it also will, on the top, you see the long pole that will be removed. So it really looks like a normal flag going against the wind. So yeah, thanks for listening. And I think we have some time for questions, I guess. But thank you. Anyone has a question? Oh.
Hi, I'm Joanna. I was wondering, specifically, and I think this kind of applies to a lot of your projects, but specifically when you're doing the demonstration with the cat and you pulled up this nice little program to give it a bunch of likes. Mm-hmm. I was thinking about how in a lot of your projects you work with these technologies, and when I say technologies, I mean both algorithms and things like Instagram, but also surveillance cameras that, a lot of people use, intentionally or not. But through your thinking of it, and even materially speaking, through your ability to code and to make tools that kind of play with these technologies, you take, in a way, some power back, you kind of make some wiggle room within these programs to, do what you want, not just the people that constructed these programs. And I was wondering if you could speak more on this, on your ability to kind of take these programs and make something that is yours, that also in some cases then becomes also something for a larger audience, especially if it's something like an exhibition or an app, an audience that doesn't necessarily have the access within these technologies that you have. Sorry, this was kind of a long question. I was just kind of wondering if you could speak more on this kind of, how this process is for you as a maker.
Okay, so the way I work is, like I explain the project on my website, like really briefly. I explain the technologies I'm using. I just explain them in the top. You see one sentence, and then I explain it a little bit further in detail. But there's not really like a big message about my work, I guess. It's something I really leave open to be questioned, I guess. So yeah, that's a bit how I work, and that I hope people see this if they visit my website. Any other questions? Okay.
Hi, I have a quick question. Hi, just a quick question. On the life expectancy percentage, what happens if you go over the percentage? I'm asking for a friend.
Very good question. You can go over. So it shows the number of how much percent is already completed. So you can go over 100%, and then it will show 1 digit less. And then when I sell them, I always program them, and I test them. So I always see at which percent they are. And I think I sold around 2 or 3 that are already above 100%. So they're above their life expectancy. Yeah. But I also sold clocks for 0.01%. So that was for a newborn. That was a father that bought it for their newborn.
Hello.
Hello.
Has the government or a large company ever tried to hire you for a project?
No.
Not yet. You were going to say not yet.
No. Actually, sometimes I have to talk on public events of the government. And they sometimes ask me to not talk about the Flemish crawlers, just leave it out of the presentation. But I didn't know. I work alone.
After you've exposed them.
Yeah, so I don't want to call it hacking because it's a bit easy. You have this website called Shodan, and it's actually a search engine, but it doesn't search for websites, but it searches for devices, like devices that are connected to the internet. So I think if you're interested in this is a really interesting website, shodan.io. So this is how I get the cameras. But also, most of the time they're pretty old cameras because they have this standard password like admin 1234. The new manufacturers of the cameras, they have like a generative password. And what it does, it checks the camera. If it's old, it will go to a list of standard passwords like 1234, and then it brute force them in a sort of light version, just 50 passwords. But now I see them getting, it's harder to find those cameras. There's some...
Any project you decided not to pursue because you could get into too much trouble?
Now before I didn't do any legal checks. Now, before I launch a project, I ask it to lawyers to review it. But I think a lot of my work is in a kind of a gray zone because sometimes they say two opposite things to me, and I'm like more confused than ever. But sometimes it's like quite easy, the advice they give, blur this or embed your images, or but I ask now for advice. As a student, I never done this. So with the Tinder LinkedIn projects, I learned a lot from that. Other questions?
Yeah, me. Have your projects and use of technology affected the way you use social media and yeah?
I think not really, to be honest. No.
Hi. So I had a question where I really liked your ideas or the way you observe people in general. Is there like a specific idea that sort of drives you to observe them in a different way than others?
Sorry, can you repeat the last?
Is there a specific idea of sorts that drives you to come up with something peculiar in general when you're observing people?
But I think I don't get the question. Sorry.
Okay, let me try to simplify. Like when you observe people, is
Yeah.
there something different that you notice that others won't notice? And is that something that drives you often as well?
Yeah, I'm confused about the question. Sorry, I don't get it, to be honest.
Okay, no worries.
Ah, yeah, like this. So sometimes the cameras are in spaces, like I think I built the systems, like most of it. It's never a system that shows random open cameras. It's always like a system that I curate the cameras before. So I know sometimes you can find cameras in hospitals or really private spaces. It's not me. I don't show those private rooms, but it's yeah, you never know because they're live cameras and you never know what's happening. Yeah.
Hi. In surveillance projects that you end up putting in galleries, can the people who show up, like the jaywalkers, sue you for using their likeness? Or is that like not legally protected since it's a public camera?
That's a very good question that I'm not able to answer, I guess. I think I need to talk to the two persons that helped me. But what I discovered when I show work in Europe, it was never legal checked, my work, or like, hey, can we exhibit this here? It was always like in the US when they did like a legal check and even have to show the code, how it works. But yeah, I'm not able to answer this question actually. But it was approved in the US, jaywalking. So maybe that tells something. Other questions? Okay. Okay. I guess that's it, right? Okay, thanks for inviting me. Thanks.
Pues res, nada, yo voy a recoger mis cosas arriba y ya, o sea que ya, muchas gracias.